All right, and we are live. Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you so much for accepting the invitation to come on, especially kind of short notice. Usually, I like to reach out to people in advance and schedule it, but I was actually very interested in having you come on because of this past weekend, this last Saturday, because you put on that event, and that was one of the things that I wanted to talk to you about today. And so, thank you so much for accepting the invitation and coming on.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Uh, Before we get into that, would you mind telling us a little bit about yourself and how long you've been in the hobby?
So I've only been doing this about 2 years.
You
Um,
mean this
it was,
actually fish keeping for 2 years
yeah,
only?
yeah.
Okay,
So I used to do birds and then reptiles, and then we had the baby, and then I just got into fish. So
okay. And now, what is it that kind of attracted you to the aquarium hobby?
I don't know. I think my ADHD had a lot to do with it. The fact that I just started getting a lot of different tanks, and you can do different things with them, and the decorating of it, and
Okay,
just the community really made a lot of friends in the community.
okay. Now, were you aware of the community prior to starting keeping fish? Did you kind of that draw you in, or you just one day decided I'm going to keep fish and then found the community?
I decided I was going to keep fish, and then I found a couple of groups on Facebook, and then I made my own group about 2 years ago,
Okay.
and then we have like 2.7 thousand members now.
Okay.
But it just went from there. I made a couple of friends, and then I started my group, and then it grew, and we just have a huge community now.
Now, what was it that that made you decide to start out your own page or community and Facebook versus just being part of one that was already existing?
So I just wanted to do my own. I used to do memes and stuff. So having that kind of the memes and the funniness added into the group, I thought would be good instead of just, oh, this is my fish. I thought there should be some fun to it.
Now, as a relatively new hobbyist, when you came into some of these groups on Facebook, did how was what was your experience as far as because I'm assuming some of the attraction was trying to get information. The reason I'm asking is because I hear a lot of people complain about the hostility that they'll come across when they join a Facebook group. Did you experience any of that?
Definitely. Fish people, yeah, just like any hobby, people can be really mean. So my number one rule in my group is don't be a dick. And that's
Okay.
just simply it. Like, you can try and help people, but there's no reason to be rude about it just because they don't know as much as you because we're all learning.
Yeah. And
Yeah, definitely, I saw that and even had it happen to me. So, people can be mean.
now did that kind of affect you in any way where you thought, maybe I don't want to continue to do this, or you're a little bit more resilient and said, ignore them and I'll move on?
No, it did make me feel that way. At one time I was going to quit, but then I decided it wasn't worth it. I had made so many friends. There is so many good parts about it that you have to kind of ignore the bad.
Now, as being an administrator of a group, um, what have been some of the challenges that you've had to deal with creating your own group and trying to make sure that your culture is established in there as far as what you want? Is that something that's an ongoing task, or you've been very fortunate where most of the people are kind of looking for the same thing?
Luckily, most of the people in my group are just there for fun and fish and just to have a good time. Of course, there is the other people, and they can see themselves out the door. Um, you know, we try to make it fun. but you do always have those people, and the people you have to watch out for, or put them on mute sometimes.
Yeah. Uh, Now, what's the name of the page that you're the one that's in charge of, or your page that you have on YouTube? I mean, on Facebook.
AZ Fish Friends.
Okay. So does that mean you're in Arizona?
Yes, Arizona.
Okay. Now, are you originally from Arizona, or are you a transplant? Because
I was born in Washington, but I only lived there 6 months, so really I'm from here.
oh, okay, yeah, because I know I'm relatively new to Arizona. I actually left. I was one of the ones that left California for a better place.
All right.
So I haven't been here maybe about 3 or 4 years now. But when I was younger, uh, right out of high school, I did live in Arizona in Phoenix, as a matter of fact, for about a year, just under a year. I was going to a trade school up there, and that's why I was up there. But so that's when I kind of got to really get to know Phoenix, and ever since then, it's always been one of my favorite cities. Although the summers can be a little bit brutal, but you
Yeah.
know, it does have its charm.
Right.
So you started up the group. You've been doing that for 2 years. What happens that makes you decide I want to start a fish event?
Okay. So I have been to other fish events. I've been in the community. I've seen other groups. I just thought that I would like to enhance people's, the way that they are enjoying the fish world. So whether it was throwing in the DJ like we had last time, bringing everyone together, whether they are selling fish or selling a picture of a fish, like everybody had their own thing at that event. Um, I just wanted to get my group together, have our first meetup. That went amazing. So we're doing the next one April 19th.
Okay.
And that'll be an Easter theme. We're going to have Easter egg hunt for the kids. I just wanted to make it more family oriented because some of the other times you couldn't take your kids
Oh,
to the other events. It just wasn't kid friendly. It was for adults. And we have a lot of young people and we have kids.
okay. Now, what were some of the things that you saw lacking from the other events that you said, you know what, this is something that we need to do? What are some of the things that you particularly wanted to see different?
Um, Not so much to charge the vendors a fee. I thought that getting the community together, it should be for the community. So to not charge them that vending fee, to make it to where I could do that raffle from the sponsors, and make enough to pay myself back from the first event, bring it into the second event, and then just, kind of keep it trickling. I
So
plan
how
to do
does
a
it
raffle each time.
Oh, okay. So the raffles are the main income source for the event to be able to pay for the venue and stuff like that?
Yes.
Okay. So it's strictly based on donations from some of the other providers, I guess, right?
Yep. So I reach out to them, tell them about the event, what I'm doing. They end up sponsoring whatever they're going to sponsor, and it worked out really well.
Yeah. So this last time, I know we had briefly talked, just getting some information. For the first event, I was very impressed as far as how well it was organized. I really loved the location, and also for a first event, I was surprised how many actual participants you had.
Yeah.
Um, and the reason, well, I guess you could call them vendors because everybody was kind of had something out there for sales. But what's one of the unique things that I thought about this was that the fact that you said that to be able to participate, you don't have there is no fee, right?
Mhm.
So
Exactly.
on the earnings and all that, unlike, let's say, for example, what I'm familiar with is like fish clubs, where if you want to vend there, there's a nominal fee that goes to the club, and then you get a certain percentage of whatever the earnings are.
Yeah,
and usually that's what they use to sustain, I guess, the club from to be able to have funds to either pay for venues or have guests come in.
right.
Um, yours is just strictly like a fish swap. There is no guest speakers. Is that something that maybe down the road, as this gains popularity, that's something you might want to incorporate, or you're totally content with what the current setup is?
So we do have future plans for speakers. For we were going to do a sip and skate, kind of where everyone builds their own fish tank together and just has a chill
Oh,
night. I have some ideas. It's just kind of new still. So for now, I'm just going to keep it Fishpalooza, and then incorporate things as it goes.
okay. Now, the other question that I had is because the Phoenix metro area is really big. I mean, I remember going back after, like I said, straight out of high school, I was there. I remember out by where the men's prison used to be at. It used to take you almost an hour to drive into town because there was nothing. Now
Right.
you come into that area and it's all populated. I mean, there's just houses everywhere. And I remember East Phoenix, you would just go down by where the almost past Mills Avenue, and there was nothing. That
Mhm.
was the college was there, and then the rest of it was all vacant. Now it's like maybe 5 times what it used to be. Is the
Mhm.
venue going to be strictly located to the region that it's currently in, or your idea is to try to have it go to different parts of the metro area?
Oh yeah, we're gonna go all over. So the next one will probably be on the east side, like Mesa Gilbert area.
Okay.
Um, I know a lot of people from Tucson are wanting an event out there, as well as up in like Flagstaff, Prescott. So I plan for it to be everywhere. We just gotta get there.
Now, how challenging has it been to try to find a venue to host the event?
Well, it wasn't too hard at first, but then we had a venue, and then it fell through. So we looked into the Peoria Town Hall. That worked out real well, and I thought it would be good for the Easter egg hunt to do that again there, with that big field. So we reapplied. They said yeah, and we're ready to go.
Okay. Now, here's the other thing, because I did talk about a little bit of what our summers are here in Arizona. Is this going to be an ongoing year-round event, or is it just something for like the fall and the springtime kind of months?
So
What would be your goal?
we're gonna do it all year round.
Okay.
We'll be moving inside because it is too hot for fish, too hot for people. So we're gonna do it year round, just different venues, different parts of the area or of Arizona. Um, but eventually, I want to get this as big as Aquashella.
Oh wow. Okay.
That is my goal because Aquashella doesn't come to Arizona that I
Yeah.
know.
No, they
Um,
don't.
so to have something that big, maybe get it even to the Arizona State Fairgrounds.
Oh, okay.
That's like
Yeah.
my ultimate dream goal.
Yeah. It would be awesome, but there's also the flip side of that. I've seen Aquashella really take a dive within the last few years.
Yeah.
It just got too big. It just got too big, and I think uh, there's just differences of opinions, I guess, between the owners of what they're doing and what their ultimate goals are. So it does
Right.
get a little bit challenging when you start getting a little bit too big. Well, but their biggest challenge is because it is a multiple city event.
Hmm.
Whereas I think if you guys just focused and did it like an Arizona
Yeah.
event,
Just our
it would,
people.
yeah, it would be a little bit easier probably to manage, especially finding venues. If you could get to the point where you're using the state uh, fairgrounds, that would probably be the ideal spot. I know I went to one last year up in the LA area, and it used to be originally just a reptile show. Um, but it's like something that I've been talking about, that I've been seeing the trend within, you have you have people that are like into houseplants, you have people that are into reptiles, you have people that are into birds and aquatics. And it seemed like every time you would go to an event, it was either or. You know, you either went to a reptile event or you went to a plant event or you went to this, but you had never seen anything where they kind of incorporated all the hobbies into one type of event
Right.
until last year where I saw it done in Pomona, and that was really cool. And the reason is it's funny because most of us will keep aquariums, but we also keep other stuff that is associated with the hobby. So an event
Yeah.
like that, I think, would be also because I know you said you had interest in reptiles and stuff like that. I think if you really were looking to grow the the amount of people being able to attend a venue, that would probably be a good strategy to kind of look into and saying, all right, now we'll make it aquatic, we'll make it reptile, we'll make it, whatever, all these things that at the end of the day kind of all tie in one way or another.
Mhm.
Because most people I know are either they're into fish and reptiles, or they're into reptiles and birds, or they're into birds and plants. So it's always one, and there's or multiple, or they're doing all four.
Yep.
So
But
go to the
I have two vendors already that I will be bringing reptiles. I definitely want to incorporate all of them together because I agree they all do go together. But I don't want to scare the fish people away if they're scared of snakes and spiders. So I'm going to keep that separate. You know, it can have its own little area. But we were even looking into a petting zoo. Not for this event, but for a future one, just for fun for the kids. But all of the animals definitely do go together, and I already have two reptile people coming.
Yeah, I have a friend of mine in the chat that's giving me a hard time because I didn't mention isopods. He's into terrestrial and aquatic isopods. Shout out to In My Tanks. That's Nick.
We
Yeah,
had
no,
the pods out there last time too.
yeah, they did, and that was really cool. But they were all terrestrial. I was kind of looking to see if they had any of the aquatic ones. But no, that would be really. I mean, here's the thing, though. At the end of the day, I think we're for I don't know why for so long there was such a division between the hobbies. Like you had the reptile people that just wanted to, oh, we're reptiles.
Yeah,
I think we have more strength in numbers. That's my opinion. The
right.
more that we can interact as a communities, even though they're independent communities, there's still a lot of stuff that's relatable.
Mhm.
When it comes to husbandry of the animals, or just just the geekiness of what we're doing, because
But
you really have to be a little bit of a geek to either do fish,
yeah,
reptiles, insects, whatever it is you're doing, even plants and stuff like that. And so even though we might not be necessarily keeping the same type of species or animals, I still find it really interesting. I mean, I'm one of those that doesn't really like snakes, but I
yeah,
think the more exposures that I've had to them, the less uneasy I've become. I still won't touch one. I still would not touch one. Uh, but it doesn't make my skin crawl as much as it used to be just being able to watch a snake. And I can appreciate the morphs and the colorations that they have on them. And that goes to say with all the other reptiles that are out there, just some of them are just super cool. The event that I was talking about in Pomona, they had a whole section for insects. I didn't realize the diversity of insects that are out there, and the colors and stuff like that. So that to me was very impressive. So that'd be kind of cool to have an event, hopefully yours, that grows to something like that. But with that being said, what are some of the biggest challenges that you've had to deal with as being the creator of the event?
there hasn't been much, honestly. It
Okay.
really fell together easily. Um, I I have a group chat with my vendors. We all help each other out. So ideas, or if someone's needing something, someone helps the other person. It came together really easy. I hit up all the sponsors. So many of them joined. I think we had like 21 sponsors last time. I think we got about 15 for the next one. I'm still working on that. But everyone is just open to helping. So it made it really easy.
Now, as far as the sponsorships, do you think that's going to be something that you'll be able to sustain, or is it something that um, that you it would be nice to have? But because I understand the idea of not charging the vendors um, a fee
Mhm.
to participate, but I think at some point, as this thing grows and your venues get bigger and bigger, it's I think it would be I don't as a vendor personally, I wouldn't be opposed to paying a minimal fee to help subsidize some of the costs because right now you had 28. Next event we had 50, then it becomes a little bit more challenging to find a place to be able to host everybody.
Right.
So that's something that, and I know we talked about this quickly, on Messenger is like, I even if I had, because I'm coming from Yuma, which is about 3.5 hours away.
Yeah.
I even if I had to pay a nominal fee to be able to participate, especially at a big event, that to me would be even worth it. It wouldn't be a problem, especially because you were able to draw quite a bit of traffic and be able to get if like for example most people that keep a fish room multiple more than 2 or 3 tanks, you're doing that because at some point you're breeding stuff, and whatever it is you're breeding you would like to be able to get it out there and help you offset your cost of running a fish room. That's the reality of it. So
Right.
having the ability to do something like that at an event like that, it's it, to me is a plus. And I know there's people down here in Yuma who are kind of in the same boat where they're kind of stuck where, the problem with living in a small community is that you can quickly flood the market with a
Mhm.
species of fish.
Right.
Before you know it, I I have shell dwellers, and before I knew it, I everybody that wanted some, they were able to get some, and now everybody's got them, and it's like, I guess they got them with the idea of reproducing them and selling them, but they don't have a market anymore because everybody's got
Yeah.
them. So,
Right.
and that happens in small communities. I mean, it's not that we're a big population anyways, but when you break it down to the hobby side of it, it's even smaller. And so yeah, it's not uncommon to quickly saturate your own market. So having another outlet like you guys, that would be totally awesome.
So, as for sponsors, a lot of them are willing to participate in the future just because I showcase their product or their name and link people to them. So, it does get them business and then they help me out, which helps everyone else out. In the future, we may be charging a fee. It would be small, like $10, $15. I'm not trying to take from the people what they're earning because they're out there trying to sell what they, have bred or made. So I'm not trying to take out of their pockets. I'm trying to help them and just help the community.
Yeah, because I think I'm looking at it from the point of view as a vendor. I would benefit from the fact that if I could offset the cost of renting out the venue, I'd be very happy because you're giving me a platform to be able to, come to a place where there could potentially be hundreds of customers. So
Mhm.
to be able to have something like that, I think it's not unreasonable. And
Right.
and like you said, it I think the idea behind it is to everybody wins, that it becomes a win-win situation. It helps you pay for whatever venue it is you're hosting, but it
Mhm.
also gives you as a vendor the opportunity to have an area where you're going to have a high concentration of people coming through
Yep.
and potentially buying whatever it is you're selling. On that subject, what are if somebody was interested in vending, what would they have to do?
Just message me on Facebook Messenger or
Okay.
they could text me. I have a flyer I can send you.
Oh,
But yeah, just hit me up. I would add you to our vendor chat and, you know, just come and set up.
okay. Now, is right now? I guess it's not that big of a deal, but how are you managing the sizes for the vending areas? Are you staying to a strict amount of space, or you can come in and set up like 10 tables and then it's no problem? How do you manage that?
We have so much space right now, even with the 20 some vendors that were there. that you can just spread out what you're bring a couple tables if you needed. I had like 3 tables going for the raffle. So, if you need that space, take the space. There's no marked lines or, that you can't cross into your neighbor's area. You're free to spread out.
Now, have you gotten any feedback from the people that participated at the event? How's that been like? What was their experience like?
Everyone was so happy. Like they did walk away with a good amount of money. Everybody who came was happy with what they got, or with their raffle prize. I have heard nothing negative, like from anybody. Everyone is so thrilled with it, and they were just waiting for the next event to be announced.
So, of those 28 that you had, how many of them are returning that you're aware of?
Most all of them. I think one has a family affair that weekend because it is Easter weekend, but it's Saturday. So I have everybody down who came last time and added a few more.
Oh, okay. So, what's your rough number as of right now? How many vendors do you have?
I think we have 29,
Oh, okay.
but I probably haven't added to that list since I talked to a couple people. I need to add them, but I think we'll at least have about 35, 40 this time, I'm thinking.
Now, were you able to walk around and see what the vendors were selling, or were you kind of just stuck at the entrance booth?
I was pretty busy. I walked around real quick just to take a video to post in the group to show everyone get down here. But yeah, I didn't really get to look at all.
Yeah, I figured you were probably real busy at the table that you were at. That's why I just quickly stopped by, introduced myself. I had looked for you, but I couldn't find you. And I decided, all right, I'm just gonna film it, and if it's an issue, I'll bring that down. But I'm happy that I did get to say hi to you, and you were pretty happy with the fact that I was able to film, and that's what's something that I was going to tell you. When it comes to success to a lot of these events, I've seen that the most successful ones is when you encourage people to self-promote it. For example, I remember the biggest that Aquashella ever got was when they actually had a lot of participation from a lot of the YouTubers that were in YouTube and were filming it. They were live streaming from the event, to the point where they actually set up a team of people that was welcoming in, people with YouTube channel or any of the social medias at this point, whether it's Instagram, TikTok, or Facebook or YouTube. And they were encouraged to go out, film the event, post the event. It's a way to promote the event, and it gets an opportunity for people that might be in the area to go, oh, it's pretty packed, it's pretty cool, let's go check it out. I think that was very smart of doing that. I really like the fact that you were really smart about asking for any footage that was taken from it and posting it on your channel. My only suggestion is don't limit it just to Facebook. Don't limit your market just to the Facebook. If you can post stuff on TikTok, you can post clips on Instagram. I think because what I've learned over the time is Facebook has its own community of hobbyists. And a lot of the people that are in Facebook will not go outside of that to go look at other content. TikTok is similar. Each one of these has their own little niche. Like us here on YouTube, we have a really big community, but it always surprises me how many of these people don't go outside of YouTube. They'll consume a lot of the YouTube information and content, but they won't deal with TikTok or they won't deal with Instagram. And you find that in each of these groups. I've been very curious, and I've set up accounts in all of them. So I get to see that happen, where I'll see like somebody that's in the hobby that's super big on Instagram, and I'll ask them, I said, how come you're not doing anything in YouTube? Oh, I don't like YouTube. But yet they still garner a big audience where they're at. So that's what I'm saying. If you could kind of help promote your event by populating all these areas with clips and stuff like that, I think your success would start coming up a lot quicker, because it's bringing it to an audience that might not have been aware of the fact that you were hosting this event.
Right. Now, I just heard about the whole YouTube community you were telling me before we went live. That's something I will definitely do. I've been doing TikTok and Instagram, but it's there's so many people out there. It's not really just Arizona. So it was kind of hard to get people from there to come. But the YouTube thing, that's a good idea. And then I have the hashtag Fishpalooza that I've started. So if everyone could just like hashtag Fishpalooza, I think that'll be something too.
Yeah, it's just I was really, really impressed because I've tried organizing stuff here in Yuma, and there's a lot of people that'll say, yeah, we'll participate, and you go out and do something, and then it's like one or two people turn out.
I was
I
worried
was
about that. Yeah.
Yeah, but I was super impressed how many people you had out there, and the quality of stuff that people had was also very impressive. I went crazy and spent a ton of money on not a ton. I bought a lot of guppy live bears. That's what I was going after was live bears. And I was very happy with the selection that I was able to get for myself personally. So, but then yeah, that was super, super cool. Um, have you had any of like the local fish stores kind of reach out and say, hey, can we put a booth up there or a display, or is that something that you rather just kind of keep community based? I don't know. What are your plans with that?
So we had Plants and Fins there in Chandler. They sponsored last time, and they're going to set up a booth this time and bring a couple reptiles, as well as sponsor again. So it's open to anyone.
Okay.
Everyone's invited. Like it doesn't matter if you have a store or you do it from your house or just everybody.
Now, as far as the, I guess obviously trying to grow this to the size where, I mean, that would be like the ideal situation is being able to get it big enough where you're hosting it at the state fairgrounds. Um, is this something where do you feel like eventually you'll have to gain a little bit more help to help you organize all of this stuff, or is it something right now that it's manageable?
Well, I do have help. I have my admins.
Okay.
They help me out. Adam and Kimberly, and then we have the other Kim. She is a mod, so they are helping me. We discuss all of our ideas. Just get our ideas together and put them in order, and we hope for it to get really huge. But I think that our little team does really good for now.
Yeah, well, even for the very first time event, I was like I said, I really I really thought it was really good. I liked that everybody had something different to offer, and it wasn't all just the same things. You could find stuff from like art, you could find hardscape, you could find plants. I mean, it was
Right.
a really well diverse vendors that you had, and that was really, really cool. And even when it came to the species, you had oxalatos, there was a guy that was selling African cichlids. You had some live bears, which I was very happy. I'm a live bear guy, so
Yeah.
that's what I gravitate to. But just seeing all this stuff, the people were super, super friendly. That was the other thing that was made it for a very nice event, and the weather was beautiful. I
Yeah.
mean, for an Arizona time of the year, you couldn't ask for any for better weather.
Right.
But yeah, I'm super excited. I'm wishing you the best of success because I think we do need events in Arizona, whether it's in Phoenix, Tucson. I don't care where it's at. I'm driving. I'll
Yeah.
get to it. My biggest thing is I'm going to help you promote it out here because I know there's people that are always talking about, oh, I wish there was something going on. Well, now they have something that they can make a day trip out of. And that's the other thing, like for us out here in Yuma, it's very cool because you can make an entire day out of the whole event. You go up to the event, spend a few hours, go catch a fish store or something if you wanted to do that, or you're in the big city, so you go do something that's big city related, and it makes it for a very full, nice event day. But again, I want to say thank you for coming on and
Yeah. Thank
sharing
you for
this,
having me.
and I really look forward to seeing what happens. I've already talked to a friend of mine who's he he breeds live foods. He's got like Daphnia cultures and and stuff like that he's growing out. And he was pretty excited because he's one of the things that he has trouble with is having a market for a lot of his stuff. So I said, dude, we need to get together. We'll put up a table
Yeah.
and we'll go spend a Saturday morning up there in Phoenix. And I have a bunch of surplus stuff that I got when I redid my fish room.
Mhm.
I had, like filters and stuff like that. I said that would be a good spot to be able to sell that stuff all at once. And it'll be priced to go. I instead of me having to throw it away, I'd rather have somebody else take
Right.
advantage of it. So,
Yeah,
so
yeah, definitely. You guys come down there and bring your friend. Like people always need Daphnia down here. Like all the stuff you guys have out there, we probably need.
yeah. So, it'll be one of those things that I'll definitely be looking forward to. I know the next big event that'll be happening is Sake, I guess, which is on the 5th. And
Mhm.
then you guys are what, 2 weeks after that?
Yeah, on the 19th.
On the 19th. So there'll be a couple events for the month of April in the Phoenix area. It's for those of you guys that are in Arizona or within driving distance. Go out and check them out. Definitely Fishpalooza is one of them that is very enjoyable. And again, thank you for taking time out of your day and coming on and being up here with me.
Yes, thank you.
We'll have to do a follow up a couple of months down the road to see how it's going.
Definitely. After next Fishpalooza.
You take care.
All right. Bye bye.
Thank you, guys.